Opened Bonnell's Fine Texas Cuisine in 2001, opened Waters in 2013. You've been honored by Wine Spectator, Zagat annually since their openings. You may remember Chef Jon Bonnell from the Today Show, CBS Early Show, Good Morning America, the Food Network, and that incredible Kardashians Christmas we speak about so many times. It
The
brings
Big Butt Christmas special, that was it.
a tear to the eye. Best-selling cookbooks from Chef Jon Bonnell are Fine Texas Cuisine, Texas Favorites, and Waters Fine Coastal Cuisine. They're the standards by which all are measured, and I have all three at my house, and that's 100% true. And I use them all the time. They're wonderful, and so is he. Get ready to be fed and get ready to laugh. Here he is, the one and only Chef Jon Bonnell.
What's happening, ZestFesters? How's everybody doing out there? You try anything good yet? Anybody burn you and hurt you yet? No? You hadn't been around very much. I tell you what, if they make your mom sign a piece of paper, maybe rethink it before you try that one. I hope y'all are having a good time. I always love cooking up here at ZestFest because we get to make food with all kinds of great flavor. This time of year, I get excited because when fall comes around, for me, that means football. Anybody watch the Horned Frogs beat the snot out of OU today? How about those Horned Frogs? Fun to watch. Football season means people are coming over and you got to entertain them. And when I'm entertaining for a football game at my house, I like to cook, but I also like to get to watch the game. So I like to come up with stuff that I can cook a little bit while they're there, but most of it way ahead of time, something that's ready to go. Maybe something that can sit in a crock pot for a while and everybody can serve themselves. Because I like to watch and not just work the whole time. So I'm going to show you how to make my favorite chili, and we're going to make a Frito pie. Frito pie with a really flavorful Texas chili, not your average stuff. If it's chili in Texas, does it have beans in it? Thank you. Sometimes the crowd doesn't quite understand. We got great Texans here today. We're not using beans in our chili. What we are using is two amazing meats. One of them, my brother raises on his ranch. This is Akiyushi beef. Bonnell Ranch beef is what we based our new restaurant, John's Grill, on. All our burgers come from our ranch straight to the restaurant. It's the heart healthiest beef you can get. It's also got a lot of marbling to it. It's a delicious beef, and it's one that we really love to celebrate. So Akiyushi with Angus Cross is an incredible flavored one, so we're going to use that for our chili. I'll even make you a burger with it later. But I don't use just ground beef in this one. I like to go ahead and take some extra brisket that I've got smoked, dice it up, and we're going to make our chili with smoked, diced up brisket and Akiyushi beef. I'm going to start by putting some of that brisket in there, get a little sizzle going. That'll start to cook on down pretty quickly. It'll render because brisket's got a little bit of that fat to it, and I need my chili to have some of that fat to it. We turn that up just a little bit. Cooking with serious heat here today. The fire kind and the pepper kind. All right, once that brisket starts to melt out and give me just a little bit of fat for the pan, then I can add in some of that ground beef. Akiyushi Bonnell Ranch beef here. We like an 80-20. If you ever see like 90-10, 80-20, that's how much lean versus how much fat. 80-20 to me makes the best burgers, makes the best chili. We'll go a little leaner for some other things, like if I'm doing a marinara sauce and I want to use a little leaner beef, that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and get this all starting to brown a little bit together. And while that's going, a couple other things we're going to put in there, some garlic. And I don't worry about mincing it too fine because chili typically cooks for a while. It all starts to break down. So I'm just going to get it in a nice big rough chop. And I've got some yellow onion that we're going to add in here also. We'll get kind of a medium dice on our yellow onion, medium to fine. I like to use some different peppers in my chili while we're at it. Anybody like their peppers here? Is this your kind of show? I'm going to use some jalapenos here, but I'm also going to use some serranos because we like to really kick it a little bit higher on the heat scale than normal when we come to ZestFest. I got a little diced onion here, got a little diced garlic. We're going to start adding those to our chili pot. Smells so good, there's even one fly up here fighting against the wind, trying to get in there. Don't you do it. Oh man, it's starting to smell good up here. While that's going, I'm going to dice up those peppers also. I like to leave a little bit of piece to them. I don't think we need to dice them so fine. I mean, sometimes fine dining, we get a little carried away with our extremely small dice or brunoise. We got to get a fancy chef word in there. For this kind of stuff, I'm thinking more rustic. Chili is a little more, game day kind of food. We can just kind of rough chop it. Again, since it's ZestFest, we're leaving the seeds in. So here's my jalapeno. Here's the fastest way I know how to cut a jalapeno. Quarters like that, and then just straight across. Leaving seeds and stem. Stem's the only thing I don't add. Leaving the seeds all the way in the middle like that. Same with serranos. I'll go right in half. Just with the tip of your knife. Then you can run right from the tip on over. Oh, these smell like they're going to have some good heat today. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Uh-huh. All right, so let's review. We've got some ground beef, some really good stuff. We've got some brisket. We've got some onion and garlic. We've got jalapenos. We got serranos. We got all the basics, but now it's time to start getting the right flavor so that it's chili and not just some meat and vegetables. There we go. Now we're cooking with heat. And all the way up. So here's a few of the seasonings I like to add in there. Now, I like to use a little bit of tomato paste to help kind of thicken it up once it really starts reducing and all this cooks together. My friend Dean Fearing taught me another trick. If you don't like to use tomato in your chili, and a lot of people don't, one of the best ways you can thicken it, dry roasted peanuts. A big handful of dry roasted peanuts, put them in a little beer and just puree them. Add that dry roasted peanut puree in there, and that'll end up cooking down and making a nice thickness to it. Adds a little bit of an earthiness also. I've got some cumin, a little bit of coriander, little touch of clove, some salt and pepper, of course. If you're not adding salt and pepper to your food, it's just going to be bland. This is ZestFest here. This is not Bland Fest. We got to go with some real flavor. This is some smoked paprika. Love this stuff. And chili ain't chili if you're not using chili powder. Chili powder is everything. The quality of your meat and the quality of your chili powder are the two most important things in a chili. So we don't go light. We use a lot. And I buy my chili powders at Pendry's in Fort Worth. Pendry's is one of the finest suppliers of chilies. You can get any single individual pepper dried as a powder. They make chili blends. They've won all kinds of contests with their blends. They're one of the gold standards when it comes to chilies. Pendry's seasoning. This is our Southwestern blend, a little bit of a complex one that we like to put together. We have about 5 different spice blends we sell at the restaurant. When people say, what's the seasoning on that steak? I'm like, here, let me save you some time. I'll give you the recipe. We have no secrets in any of my kitchens. I'll give you all the recipes I've ever had for free. But sometimes it's easier to go ahead and buy something like a spice blend instead of going out and getting 20 ingredients and grinding your own. Now, once all this starts to cook together, I know y'all are looking at me like, there's no way he's going to get chili finished on stage. And you're right. I am not going to get this chili totally finished on stage. Good news is I brought some that we made yesterday, so there will be plenty of sampling at the end over here. We're going to have some Frito pie for you. We're going to have even some chili dogs for you, and something I'm going to make for you over here in just a minute. Now, once all of our stuff starts to kind of saute and sweat together, this one takes 2 full beers. 1 and 1. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. God, I love football season. Something about the fall just feels right. No, I'm not getting one. Now, ideally, I would bring this up to a simmer. I'd get a lid on it and let it go for about an hour, hour and a half. Then I'll take that lid off to the side a little bit. Instead of all the way on, I'll give it about an hour like this to really start to loosen everything up, let all the flavors come together and become one. And then I'll give it another hour just doing one of these so it can start to reduce just a little bit. Give it just that little bit of steam to come out. One other thing I'm gonna add in there is a little bit of crystal hot sauce. Chili needs a little bit of acidity, and typically the Louisiana hot sauces have a vinegar to them, some salt to them, and a little bit of heat to them. So I do like to start with that. We've got plenty of the green flavor from jalapeno and serrano, a little bit of the red pepper in here, and from your chili powder. So those are some beauties that I love. I'm gonna let this sit here and simmer while we talk about something else for a little bit. Burgers. Oh, baby, burgers. Who doesn't love a good burger? I mean, that's just food for the soul. I'm not eating one every day, but I love a really good burger, so much so that we opened up a restaurant. John's Grill was scheduled to open in the summer of 2020. And I don't know if y'all remember, but some stuff happened that year, so it took us a little longer. We opened September 9th of this year, John's Grill over right by TCU. We still have some Horned Frogs out there? Right across from the bookstore, John's Grill just got open, and we use only our own Bonnell Ranch beef. So let me pat you a patty. I'm gonna put just a touch of oil on some cast iron here. Doesn't need much. And I'm gonna pack a little patty. When we make our burgers, our first question at John's Grill, how do you like your burger, fatty or flatty? How do you like that patty? I like a nice fat one. Some people like a real thin one. How many people would like the fatty if they were ordering? How many would like the flatty? See, and that's why we offer both. It's like 60-40 right here. What are you getting? Hot dog and fried pickles? And a milkshake? You getting a burger? All of the above? This is my son in the front row, and he can eat, I'm telling you. Did you just try the Carolina Reaper sauce? Is that what you tried to tell me? You tried the Carolina Reaper sauce? Oh my. You okay? What's that? Pretty good stuff? All right. Now, since we've got a very special beef and we really think it's something, we don't like to disguise it. I want you to taste the real beefy flavors that we get off of this. Here's my seasoning. Salt. Sometimes we'll mix a little salt and a little pepper, but that's it. I want that meat to shine through and see what the flavor of the meat actually is. I want everybody to see it because it's pretty special to us. While that's cooking, this is one of my favorite burgers we do over there. I call it Granny's Special because everybody's grandmother always had pimento cheese in the fridge. I mean, pimento cheese was like a staple. It was like a thing. You got some in your fridge right now, don't you? But you got to make it, or you buying it? Sounds like it's. The tone of your voice sounds like you bought it, but I ain't mad at you. That's okay. Sort of make and buy it. Well, I like to make it a little more interesting than just regular pimento cheese. Basic pimento cheese, I mean, we got some grated cheese. Fair enough. Where'd my spoon go? We got a little bit of mayo. Kind of holds the body of all this together. We got a little cream cheese in there. Woo. I'm gonna grab a glove from you in a minute if you got it. A glove. Now, of course, we're gonna get some pimentos in there. It's kind of the whole key to it. But pimentos are, well, you know, on the mild side. And again, we're here at ZestFest. It's not Blandfest. Blandfest is up in Plano this weekend over at the Howard Johnson Senior Center. We like to add some flavor, so we're going to call it jalapimento. We're going to put some big chunks of jalapeno in ours. Also makes it look really cool. The pimentos are red, they're sweet. It's got a nice little bit of flavor, but let's put some heat to it and really make this work. You handed me a glove and I think I lost it. There we go. It's blowing. Oh, that burger's looking good. I'm gonna mix this by hand because sometimes that's a little bit easier. The best two tools I've got. A little bit of salt. Make sure this has a real nice consistency. You got to get that cream cheese kind of worked all through it. I like everything to really meld together in this one. I'm running all around. Can the camera find that? Anybody see it? Whoop. There we go. It's got a nice color to it. You got orange, red, green, plenty of flavor going. Now, I would also like to put a little cilantro in here, but I got one problem. I live with a cilantro hater. How many cilantro haters are out here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. This is a common phenomenon. It's not a problem. Just don't bring cilantro in the house and we have the best marriage ever. But if you hate it, you're gonna hate it for life. Cilantro is not one of those like broccoli you may end up learning to like later. Cilantro hits some people all the way down to their genetic core. Their biology says, don't eat that, it's poison. It tastes absolutely inedible. So we don't use a lot of cilantro in my house. I would probably put a little bit in that. I think it's kind of fun to southwestern it up. But we left the cilantro at home today. Makes all of us a little happier. This burger's getting real close to flip time, and once it flips, that is almost where we want it. Oh yeah, baby. I'm gonna put just a touch more oil on that. Just a little. There we go. I like to hear that sizzle. I always say when it hits the pan, when it gets the sizzle going, that sound, that's the applause because you're doing it right. If it hits the pan and there's nothing going on, take it out, start over, get your pan hotter. You gotta hear it when it hits. Anytime you're sauteing, anytime you're searing, woo, that's what I'm talking about. Now, since we know for sure that our beef is safe as it could be because our animals go from our farm, our ranch, straight to the processor, they get batched by themselves. They don't get mixed with anybody else's animals, and we test every single batch we've got. I don't mind serving medium rare or even rare on burgers. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do when you are sure of your source and you know it's a good, healthy beef. Otherwise, be a little careful sometimes. Especially when we're serving our fatties. We like to make sure the fatties are mid-rare, medium in the middle. Leave me a little red. Leave me a little bit of moo in it. Now, I'm gonna give that just a second more. We'll go ahead and toast these buns just a touch. Everybody like a little toasty bun? A little bit of olive oil. You could use butter also, which I love. Let it all kind of work together there a minute. That's how you show somebody you really care. You don't take a burger bun right out of the package. You toast it, butter it, and toast it for them first. So you show you care a little bit. Oh yeah, that chili's going over there. There we go, just a little toast like that. Then I'm gonna pack a nice big old puck of that jalapeno cheese right on top of that bad boy. That's the kind of burger I like. Give me all the flavor in the world. There we go. We're gonna go right on that bun. That's our Granny Special. That's what we call the Granny Special, and that one is a fatty, not a flatty. And then when I do my Frito pie over here, I like to throw a few extra diced jalapenos just on the side. When I do Frito pie, I kind of think, you know, it needs to be set up like a little buffet. Let everybody pick their own toppings. So we'll throw a few jalapenos into some pico de gallo, make a little bit of that. We'll throw a few just into a little bowl by themselves here. Everybody know how to make pico de gallo? Shouldn't be that hard. If you're from Texas, I think you know how to make pico de gallo. Pretty sure if you look up on your birth certificate, it's right on the back. There's a guac and a pico recipe on the back of a Texas birth certificate. You know that? My own son told me that's not true. Calling me out. Oh, it wasn't you? You're like a ventriloquist. All right. We get a little bit of jalapeno, a little bit of onion, all that working together. I'll get a little tomato in there also. I like to fillet my tomatoes, get that little seed part out of there so they don't end up making pico that looks more like soup. I like it when the pico still has lots of tooth to it. Some nice big pieces. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So, little pico. What am I missing in pico besides the cilantro? Exactly, right here. I got a great crowd that knows how to cook right here. This is fun. It's more fun when the audience knows what they're doing. When they have their own pimento cheese that they store-bought and pretended they made right in their own fridge, that's who I'm talking about. He's gonna go home and check. He's gonna put it on Facebook and be like, yep, there it is. There's the label. Came from Kroger, just like you said. Last thing I do for pico, salt it. If you salt it ahead of time, all those juices come out of the tomato, they come out of everything, and it gets all soupy. It needs the salt, but it's got to be right at the last second. Even if you chop all your stuff ahead of time, right before your friends come over, hit the lime and salt at the end. You get all the great flavors. Now here's how I like to do mine. We will take a Frito bag and lay these out on the buffet. This is my no mess Frito pie. Get your crock pot going so your chili's ready. You can make it the day before. Just turn it on low and let it go for a while. And then each person can take their bag, get a little pair of scissors, just cut the top off. And I'm gonna use this right here. I'm gonna make one. Even though this chili's not quite ready, we'll put a little bit of chili right on down in the bag there. Make your Frito pie right in the little bags. This is good tailgate food too. All you're doing is throwing it all away at the end. I'm gonna put a little sour cream on mine. I like a few of those jalapenos. I'm zesty like that. I love pico de gallo. Put some of that in there. A little bit of that shredded cheese. All you gotta do is get your condiments all lined up ahead of time. Frito pie in the bag. Let everybody stand around with a plastic spork. That's always the Texas way, right? You gotta get those sporks from KFC. Little spoon or fork, you're all set. Tailgate or on the couch, you're throwing the whole thing away when you're done. Right in the bag is my favorite. Frito pie, a nice fatty with some jalapeno cheese. I'm ready for game day. How about y'all? We're gonna have some samples for you in just a minute or two right down here on this table. Right over here, I've got some chili dogs so you can taste what our Shinerbach chili tastes like with brisket in it, smoky brisket. And we're gonna have some of that jalapeno cheese on some Ritz crackers for you. I like to do that on the burger, but sometimes just the pimento cheese by itself and a whole array of crackers is a great way to go also. Easy way to entertain. Make grandma proud. All right. Anybody got any questions out there?
Questions for Chef Jon, anybody? Or are you just ready to eat? Yes, sir. Chef Jon, back here in the back.
Hello, Chef. You mentioned peanuts as a thickening agent for the...
Yes, peanuts for chili.
Could I use a spoonful of all-natural peanut butter to do the same thing?
You know, that's a pretty good idea. I have never done it with peanut butter, and I bet you if you put it in there, it would melt right on through. Dry roasted salted peanuts end up working well, I know for sure, because they just kind of reduce, and it makes, instead of your chili kind of having liquid around it, it makes it almost like a gravy. It's a good thickener. I use a little bit of tomato paste also, and the tomato paste helps with that, but Dean showed me how to do it with peanuts, and I do it almost every time now. What I'll do is take a few dried chilies, a little bit of the Shinerbach, put them in that liquid and the peanuts, and hit the stick blender and puree the whole thing together. Dump it in. That's one of my chili secrets anyway.
All right, Chef, so it sounds to me like if you take this young man's suggestion of using peanut butter and the old Mexican way of putting chocolate
A little
in
dark
chili,
chocolate without sugar.
that you basically are putting Reese cups in your chili.
So Reese's Pieces Shinerbach chili, that just sounds like 420 food. What are you doing to me here?
Next
Come on,
year,
man.
next
What are
year,
you doing?
Reese cup chili from Chef Jon Bonnell.
Please don't put Reese's Pieces in your chili and tell somebody I told you that was the way to do it. That's not okay.
Scott, John, if you don't mind, last year I was in for Scott doing the emceeing. I just want to say, as for my lunch, for my dinner, I just grabbed a plate of the chili that I got as you're getting it backstage.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you the truth, love meat, love spice, love food. You don't get a body like this by accident. But I usually pass on pulled pork, and I occasionally pass on brisket. I would advise strongly that you do not pass on this. It is amazing.
Thank you, my friend.
Wow.
I appreciate that very much. Glad
There
you're
you go.
enjoying the chill. Oh, it's coming to you. You don't even have to stand up for the buffet. How about our lovely volunteers today, bringing it all to you? And thank you, Brian. Nope. There he is.
I thought he had gone out to get Reese cups.
Back to the degreasing station.
Any other questions for Chef Jon Bonnell? Any more candy that you want to put in chili?
Yeah, right? Hey,
down
if you
that
guys
path.
ever get over to the fort, it's not far, 32 miles away. You get to Fort Worth, we've got 5 spots. Come see us in any of them in the Bonnell's Restaurant Group. Bonnell's Fine Texas Cuisine, that's our original, been there 21 years, wild game. We have a huge garden, farm to table, lots of cool stuff, many Texas products as we can get. Got named one of the top 100 restaurants in the nation this year. We got Waters, that's our seafood restaurant with a huge oyster bar. And we have 2 sports bars called Buffalo Bros, Pizza, Wings, and Subs, one at TCU, one in Sundance Square, and the new John's Grill, Burgers and Brisket. Little something for everybody, so if you find yourself over in the fort, please come see me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chef. How about a big hand for the one and only Chef Jon Bonnell, everybody? Thank you, Chef.